What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. A new week approached, so we got ourselves a new Nightfall weapon for this week, at least, the Undercurrent Wave Frame grenade launcher. That is the ARC version. So we're going to cover the god rolls as well as the origin traits for this bad boy. Like I said, it is a wave frame, so definitely trying to build this out for that blast radius, since the wave frames did get changed a little bit to take that into consideration. So first off, we got our origin traits for these Nightfall weapons. Like always, the stunning recovery. Stunning a champion partially refills your magazine, triggers health regen, and improves recovery for a short duration. So very good PvE perk in my personal opinion, especially you're taking it into some of that end game content that there are a lot of champions where you're going to get this to proc a bunch. Second option is Vanguard's Vindication. You get some health every single time you get a defeat with the weapon, so it's about 10 HP, nothing too crazy about it. When you got a lot of ads, or you're on that ad clear job, if you will, for something, take this out, use your Vanguard's Vindication, and absolutely rack up that health, but I do like stunning recovery a little bit better overall. Alright, so starting us out, we got ourselves PvE realm, going for blast radius like I said, so we're using that adept blast radius mod or the quick access sling, totally up to you. And then masterwork, definitely looking for blast radius on this bad boy. As for our barrel, I'm gonna go with volatile launch, gives us that plus 15 in blast radius. We do lose a little bit of velocity and handling, but with the stats that we have, we are at 85 with our blast radius and 82 at velocity, so it is super high in both of those categories, as well as reload in my opinion with 82, so definitely how I like to have it built out. Now we only got two options for magazines on these bad boys. High velocity rounds is what I would go with, both PvE as well as PvP in my personal opinion. That velocity and reload just feels the best overall on this for our magazine. Third column, we got a bunch of different options. This thing is pretty juiced in this category. Really anything in this third column is pretty solid, but we got our best ones for sure, with lead from gold being one of those. Picking up heavy also grants us some ammo for this weapon, so basically assuring that we never run out of ammo for either of our weapons, heavy or this one, but I do think there are some better options. Another option right here is stats for all, hitting those 3 separate targets gives us handling, stability, reload, and range for a moderate duration. Not as crazy on something like this with a wave frame, but not too shabby at all, just in general for the PvE realm. Third option, which I think I would go with personally as my god roll, 5 out of 5, picking out that ambitious assassin, overflow the magazine based on the number of rapid kills before reloading. So with this, we're getting 2 every so often. The game glitches out and you get 3 in there, but not too often that happens at all. So it's 99% of the time you're getting an extra shot in there, but it does feel really good on this weapon. Last option in this third column, we got Demolitionist, definitely one of my favorite PvE perks of all time. Kills with the weapon generate grenade energy. Also, when we activate our grenade, we reload our weapons, so nice little bit of just synergy between that and our weapon in general. So if you're using this for that ad clear side, since it is a wave frame, definitely going to be using it more for that instead of the DPS things like mountaintop, etc. So I like demo because you do get it back very quickly when using this weapon. Kind of the same thing in the fourth column, got a couple different options to pair with this bad boy. First off, we got our good old Volt Shot, what I think I would go with as my #1 choice. Like I said, using this thing more for the ad clear, stunning people with the Volt Shot rather than the DPS side of things. So something like a demo or ambitious assassin with Volt Shot would be my 5 out of 5. Second option, something that would pair very well with stats for all, is 1 for all, hitting those 3 separate target gives us some damage increase for a good little duration. Nothing too crazy about this as well, but with the wave frame, we're hitting a bunch of enemies at once anyways with how the weapon travels, so definitely a good perk, especially if you're pairing it with that stats for all. Last option in this column for PvE, we got Adrenaline Junkie. This weapon gains increased damage and handling from final blows with grenades or this weapon, so this with the combination of that ambitious or even demolitionist is probably better, so you're getting your grenade back very quickly, getting adrenaline to proc as well. Little combo, little synergy of this weapon is pretty disgusting, so you got options on it for PvE for sure. I personally still like my Forbearance a little bit more, but this is a very close and good second backup for that, so I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Super solid weapon for the PvE realm. Definitely would grind out your Nightfalls this week and see if you can get yourself a normal version or an adept version if you guys are going through that Grand Master choice. Now, when we move on to PvP, now my personal opinion, wave frames, it's totally a gameplay choice, and especially if you're a hunter, very good, or a floating warlock, not as good on Titans, just because it has to be like a quick swap dodge situation, or when you're in the air you can Icarus out of the way, but it has to have pretty good handling on this bad boy, as well as just in general you have to be able to hit that grenade at the right angle so it waves in the direction, not back at you. Lots of things, but we'll still cover its god roll for you guys. For our barrel in PvP, I would go with Quick Launch. Gives us velocity and 15 handling. Like I said, we want our handling to be as high as we can. That's why our masterwork, for me, I personally went with our handling for the PvP realm. Could go with Blast Radius if you wanted, but PvP, want to be able to switch on and off of this because that's basically what it's for. It's not going to one-shot too many Guardians. Again, in the magazine, only got 2 options. High velocity rounds is definitely what I would go with for that velocity and reload. Definitely the only choice in my opinion. So first off, we got 2 options in the third column. Nothing too crazy about this, like I said, perk wise for PvP, but field prep, if you do got a couple of those special ammos in there, you get faster reload, stow, and ready when crouching. So this could be nice for that little extra handling, if you will, to pull this in and out, so you can really switch between this, shoot it, get that little damage, then switch to your hand cannon or whatever and get the defeat. So field prep is a good choice. My number 1 choice, though, in this third column is Eddy Current. We get that increase in reload and handling after sprinting or while amplified. This effect is improved while amplified, so very solid, especially since I'm moving around a lot in the Crucible. Like I said, kind of hard with this weapon and wave frame to get everything to fall into place. You gotta hit the Guardian and then swap to a weapon, or hopefully they're already hurt a little bit, and then you can get that defeat. But totally a gameplay choice and still a very good option for a perk in Eddy right here. If I'm being honest, I don't really know the best options for this 4th column. I'm not a fan of high ground, but with that little extra damage boost could be good, but One for All will be a choice as well. Hitting 3 separate targets gives us that increase to damage. Like I said, wave frames, they have a good radius of doing damage, if you will, so you can tick 3 separate Guardians pretty easily like this, but you do need a couple shots in the magazine, which in Crucible can be hard to get that special ammo depending on how they have it, if enemies are dropping it or if you're just running around grabbing those bricks. So a nice option, but in general definitely a little challenging. The other option is high ground. Now your feet do have to be on the ground, so like a floating warlock this wouldn't proc, but if you can get up high in some of these maps or just a little bit higher than another Guardian, throw it downstairs, etc., you can get that little extra damage to proc, which would not be too bad at all inside of the Crucible, especially if you're throwing it on a point inside of a well, something like that, where everybody's gathered up. Could be a good little damage perk, but I still like the other type of grenade launchers better, especially something like Wither Horde or that Lost Signal feels way better inside of the Crucible. But again, definitely a play choice with this wave frame. This and hot swapping, kind of the same thing with people that hot swap between bows and hand cannons, has a very similar feel to it. So for me personally, gonna give this probably like a 3.5 out of 5 for the Crucible. Not my favorite weapon, but I'm sure some people can take huge advantage of it with the wave frame. There's definitely some better wave frames in general if you're gonna do that, in my personal opinion, but not too bad, especially since we can farm it this week with our Nightfalls. GMs if you want the adept version, but decent weapon overall, definitely better for PvE. But again, appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. As always, means a lot to me. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.